Welcome to Roll to Hit Gaming's 15 favorite games.
Today we're going to look at board games that we consider gems of 2017.
The way we collect our list is we individually put together our favorites, or in this case our gems. We compare our list so that we're giving you 15 unique titles for this 2017 year. So, Lucas, you want to get us started?
Sure. My number 5 is going to be a game from Queen Games. And this one for me is a gem because I like the Western theme, and frankly, it's a game from Queen that I really enjoyed, and that was Pioneers. And in this one, basically, you're moving your stagecoach through the different cities, populating the area, and you're trying to basically build your little route and build yourself up higher. And each stagecoach requires you to deposit 3 to 5 of your meeples around the map. And when you do so, you score that stagecoach and you get victory points. Neat little route building thing. Gives me a feeling similar to that of, I don't know, kind of a combination of Railroad Revolution and Ticket to Ride, kind of almost with the route building. So I really, surprisingly, enjoyed Pioneers from Queen Games.
What was kind of unique about it is, with the other games you mentioned, each one of you would have your own train.
Mm-hmm.
In this particular case, there is one stagecoach, and each person on their turn, they're moving the same stagecoach, building their own routes, using just one. So that was a really neat dynamic that they added to it.
Yeah, I did enjoy playing it, and it's a fine game. I did kind of walk away with the idea that if I was going to play, I'd kind of rather play Railroad Revolution.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But it is a gem.
Yeah, it is a good game. It's a good game, and it's fun for anybody.
Joe, what about you?
Well, for my number 5, I chose Quest of Valeria. It's by Daily Magic Games. Basically, it's a fantasy card game. It has a hand management and set collection, but it's basically a Lords of Waterdeep card game, and you're building a tableau. You take on adventurers, and you use those adventurers to complete quests, and you gain victory points that way. It was an interesting take on a very familiar board game, and that is Quest of Valeria.
Yeah, this is a really neat game, and I'm just going to plug Daily Magic here. If you thought what she said sounded interesting, the hand management, the tableau building, little card game, they play quickly, Daily Magic is putting out some great games in this Valeria line that all fit into that category and each have a different little flavor on them. So if that sounds good to you, or if you're looking for a fast-paced, shorter version of Lords of Waterdeep, that's what this is.
Well, my number 5 is going to come from Academy Games, and we were introduced to Academy through their 1775 Rebellion about the American Revolution. This one is their new title for this year, 878 Vikings. And it's really an evolution of that same system that started with those titles. And I like how Academy is sort of progressing their rule set. 1775 was very straightforward, just battle, the battle dynamics and putting your new units onto the board. Where 878, it introduces the concept of an army card with a leader, and the armies group themselves and move as one unit throughout the board. And it really gave me the feel of the raiding Viking hordes coming to England and laying waste to the countryside. So I really like those added dynamics that they've acquired in 878 Vikings.
One thing I can say of note, I played England in that particular one. Just maybe you can call it a spoiler. There's this inlet of water. It's really tiny. You can barely see it. So whenever I missed it every single time. So the Vikings always slipped in through that channel every time. So watch out for the water line.
Yeah, I think Academy's system for these historically based war games is very elegant. And like you said, it's evolving with every one of these games. The evolution for this one was particularly thematic for me because, the game is the Viking invasion of England, and they are relentless.
Oh, yeah.
So, I really felt like that played up the theme really well. It adds that tension onto the English side of the board. The wave after wave after wave of Viking. Another home run from Academy Games.
Yeah, great game. That's our number 5s.
So for my number 4, it's actually a game that I checked out of the library at BGG Con, and it's called Mystery of the Temples. It's by Emperor S4 Games. Basically, it's just a little mini, not quite pocket game, but it's tiny, and you are trying to lift the curses off these temples. In order to do that, you have to collect gems in a particular order, because you can't move the gems once you've placed them on your card. So you take the gems off, and it slowly breaks down the curse on these temples, and the one who gets the most victory points win by breaking those curses. It's light, it's easy, it's fun. I really enjoyed it, and that's Mystery of the Temples.
All right. My number 4 is going to be Valletta from Z-Man Games. This is a light Euro build buildings, gain resources to build more buildings, and score victory points thing. The interesting part was there's a deck building mechanic in it, and I really enjoy deck building. And the different characters that you have will allow you to do different things as you go along, and each time you build a building, it has an associated character that you pick up, add to your deck, and you continue to play that way. You have builders, you have guys that can let you move further along the little track at the top that gives everybody bonuses. All these various things. The neatest part about it, though, is at the end of the game, after end game is triggered, each player runs through their entire deck one more time. So you don't have that issue where that card you bought in the last turn, you never got to use that. You're going to get to run your engine one more time and see how it turns out. I thought it was really rewarding and really enjoyed Valletta.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the game, was going through that deck one last time to try to scrape as many points as you could.
Well, my number 4 is going to be Riverboat by Mayfair. And this one you have a tableau of fields, much like Castles of Burgundy style. And you are acquiring crops and placing workers out to plant those crops that will be harvested to attract riverboats to come to your docks and take those crops out. Also sending some of your workers to New Orleans to do certain things. It's one of those kind of point salad games. There's a lot going on to it, but I really liked it visually. It's very stunning, and it's a Michael Kiesling, so it's a solid game. Riverboats. I think you'll enjoy it.
It's almost like when you're choosing your fields and planning them out, you want to group them together so that you have the largest pumpkin field or whatever. So it's very patchworky in that. So you're right. It's a stunning, very pretty game.
Yeah, and you could get these little objectives as you went along that gave you different awards for doing different things. And I liked the... it wasn't really action selection, but there were 5 different phases, and you would choose, and you were kind of the master of that phase. And as such, you got a little bonus in that phase. I thought that was a really neat touch, too.
So those are our number 4s.
Well, starting off at number 3 for me is going to be the one that got quite a bit of buzz this year, and that's Century Spice Road.
Yes, it did.
It's been called the Splendor Killer, and that may very well be. I enjoyed this game immensely. It's a trading kind of cube manipulation game, not card drafting, but card acquisition for your points and things like that. It's trading one good into another good and forming an engine that does that more efficiently than your opponents. It's a great game, y'all, and you should really try it out. It's portable. It's easy to learn, easy to get into. Does it kill Splendor for me? Maybe, but Splendor has come out with an expansion this year that I've heard a lot about. I want to give that a try. But yeah, it's a contender, man. I mean, Splendor is on shaky ground with this game. Not to mention, it was just announced that Century is coming out with a
3rd one.
And it's kind of like a pseudo expansion, right? You can put the games together and play them together. So, man, they really hit it out of the park with this. They've really impressed me. Century Spice Road.
It's crunchy, mathy fun with a lot of building like these patterns.
Yeah.
Right. Combining these colors to get these colors and trading in this spice for that. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed that one a lot. So for my number 3, it's one that I've spoke of before, and it's Rail Raiders Infinite by Ninja Division. This is just some dice chucking fun. You're building out. There's a train out there, and it's all the little different train cars. You have your what do they call them? They're not meeples. They're the
Chibis.
Chibi. Thank
Yes.
you. You have these chibi characters, and you are robbing the train, and you have to fight law dogs and finding treasure. And there's a little bit of back and forth between other players as far as you can kick them off the train, and they have to find their way back on. But it's just a lot of fun. You're throwing dice. It's a great time, and that is Rail Raiders Infinite.
Yeah, I think I've seen some negativity out of your larger review channels on this one, and I don't understand it because I think this is one of those games where you need to go in understanding that there's going to be random, there's going to be dice, there's going to be killing, there's going to be chibis, and that's what you need to expect. And if that's not your kind of game, I probably wouldn't recommend it. But if it is a really fun time.
Yeah, if you're looking for a serious Wild Western one, this isn't your game. But, it's Throw Mama from the Train in the Wild West. So it's fun, guys. And, you have poker dice. Mm-hmm. And how many games out there have poker dice? Not that many. So it's a good time.
Yeah, I'm going to go from lighthearted to not at all for my number 3. This one came out very early in the year, and I feel like because of that, it's lost some momentum as we go along, but it was the follow-up for Xenoshift Dreadmire. Mm-hmm. And for me, a fan of Xenoshift, this one tightened the bolts, added some things that were really neat, changed the setting just a little bit to an incredibly difficult Starship Troopers style deck building game. Mm-hmm. It can run a little long if you're playing at max player count, but I really enjoy the way the mechanics work together, the way you can upgrade your soldiers with gear. And, they tweaked the way the bosses came out, so now you kind of stage into it, whereas in old Xenoshift, it could just kind of hit you right straight away before you had an opportunity to build. I think that was a good change. They added a dynamic where certain creatures will act differently in different weathers. You have just a little weather deck that you pull up. All great touches. Tighten the bolts on Xenoshift, so if you haven't tried Dreadmire and you liked the first one, I think you'll like this one even more.
And they didn't take away the good parts of the first game either. I mean, you're still, using the equipment in your hand. Yeah, you only have so many cards in your hand per round. But you're still like, hey, you need some help? Here, have a grenade launcher or whatever the case may be. So it's still that cooperative but very tense fight to save the base.
Mm-hmm. That was a cool game. It's a beatdown sometimes. It'll get on you.
Yeah, it will. It will.
Those are our number 3s.
We're up to number 2, and I think I have some explaining to do here. For me, I ranked these top 2. I went back and forth on what position that they were going to be in, and I came down to what we were calling this list, and this list was gems. So for me, my number 1 was a little more unexpected gem than my number 2 here, but at 2 is CMON's Godfather Corleone's Empire. It's from Eric Lang, and I'm an Eric Lang fan, so I kind of expected it to be good, and it's got a theme that I adore. I didn't expect it to be as good as it is. Now, straight away, this thing is not Godfather themed at all. It's mobster themed, but if you're planning on following the first Godfather movie through this game, that's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. But what you are doing is sending your captains and your thugs and your boss out in the different areas of the city to collect resources in order to complete missions for Vito Corleone and score victory points based on that. Mm-hmm. And, all of those victory points come as cash because it's a mob game. And you launder that into your suitcase. And at the end of the turn, you have to pay tribute to the boss and you have to, discard down to a certain number of cards. If you weren't able to get your money into your suitcase, then you're just going to lose that, and unless you get rid of some other things so that you can hold on to it. That system works really well and enables the bidding phase to get allies where you're bidding out of that suitcase now. So remember to put money in there if you want to get allies. And allies, I think, are where this thing really shine because all of the allies have these, crazy, overpowered special effects they're going to have on the game. And I think, you properly deciding, which one's going to benefit me the most here can really help your success. So the ally feature is one I really enjoy of the Godfather Corleone's Empire.
Now with this too is it's an area control game as well. Majority.
Yep.
So when you are sending out your thugs, you're taking over a specific location, be it like the the gun shop.
Mm-hmm.
But if you send out a higher ranking capo, he's over an entire area and his
Mhm.
influence spreads
Right.
through that area. And as the game progresses, you're building your influence and you're taking influence away from others. So I love that piece of it. That's my favorite, is controlling the city through my influence.
Yeah, I do. That's my favorite part of it too. The double-sided area control, I guess, with the regions and the specifics, is definitely really cool. Word to the cautious: make sure that you have a gaming group you get along with if you're going to play this, because you're going to step on toes. There is not enough room on the board to just create your little empire.
No, there's not.
No.
And that's by design, And
if you're leaving somebody alone, they're going to run away.
And if you don't watch other people, then they're going to run off with it. But it is a great game.
Now, for my number 2, this one came out of nowhere for me. I didn't know what was going to be in front of me when I opened the box, and that was Alien Artifacts, and it's by Portal Games. This is a sci-fi card game. It has a lot of card drafting, set collection, and hand management, which those are some of my favorite parts of a game. I love the cards. With this one, though, you are getting ships and you are taking exploration missions, and it's all through the symbols on the cards. It's very simple iconography after you got into it, but you are basically buying the exploration that you need, or buying personnel, and you're completing almost like quests in order to build up points. And it's this engine build because this ship ties into this exploration for this planet, and it gives you a benefit. And I love the crunchiness of building that engine with Alien Artifacts.
Yeah, I'll be honest. We finished playing that one, and if you follow our geek list for our Shelf of Shame for 2017, I just wrote, and I wrote that not because I didn't enjoy it, but because it feels a lot like, and I'm not trying to compare them, but it feels a lot like 51st State and Imperial Settlers in that whole card engine building thing. And I just wasn't sure, after having only played it once, what my thoughts on it were. It's a good time. It's a crunchy engine building puzzle. But I think this is going to be one, maybe even more so than the other two that I just mentioned, that's going to reward multiple plays.
Yeah.
The more you play it, the more you become familiar with it.
I had the same feeling. I came out of it feeling like I was playing a sci-fi version of 51st State. And I think I like 51st State better.
But they're not the same thing.
They're not.
Right?
No, they're not. There are differences. But I think they're so close together for me that I don't know. But I do want to play it a few more times to see, maybe I'm missing something in the play. It's certainly got a lot of hype. A lot of people are raving about it. And it's a fine game. Yeah. I had a great time playing.
Yeah. And the art is unbelievable.
Yeah, and the art's great.
I really enjoy the visual look of it.
I guess that's one of those, I don't want to sound braggadocious, but I guess we play so many games throughout this year that we've exposed ourselves to a variety of ones that are very similar. I don't know. We'll give it a couple more shots and just see where I land on it.
The main difference, I think, between Alien Artifacts and the 51st State, so that you don't lump them together, is that when you with 51st State, you build the building and then that gives you that benefit. But with Alien Artifacts, you choose, do I flip the planet when I explore it, or do I keep getting the same benefit that I've got when I first put it down?
Yeah, that's a neat.
It's almost like you choose to upgrade, but if you upgrade it, then you lose the benefit you had before. So there's another layer of crunchy on when do I flip that card, or should I flip it, or just keep the benefits that I get from the get-go. Yeah. I don't know. I really like the puzzle.
Well, for me, we're on 2. My number 2 is going to be a pretty abstract. It is pretty abstract, but it's also a pretty abstract, and that's Sagrada. I don't know, something about stained glass has always fascinated me, and now we have a board game making stained glass windows. So it's not gonna be the favorite of the folk that don't like dice and random, because it has those. But essentially, you're rolling dice, different colored dice that you're going to draft out throughout. All the players get to draft to build a stained glass window on your little board. And the board will give you direction as to the number that has to be placed down or the color that has to be placed down, and you'll get points for doing so. And whoever has done theirs the best will normally be the winner. It's a really neat game. It's very pretty, visually appealing, and I just enjoyed it. I missed the Kickstarter, and I'm kind of kicking myself for doing that because I had really considered backing it. I didn't, and then you guys picked it up and we played it, and I really enjoyed it. So I kind of wish I would have backed it. I think you only got like an extra board or something if you backed it.
Yeah, something
You
like that.
pick it up in the store, but good games, Sagrada.
So what I really liked about it was, you're right, it is completely random. I mean, you're reaching into the bag, you're pulling out random colors. So you roll those and then you get random numbers. But it's taking the random and making it work for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a couple of cards that you can use and you have to spend basically favor tokens, and you only have so many of them to kind of break the rules a little bit. But for the majority of placing that stained glass, placing those dice, I mean, you have to work with the random and make it work. And I like bending it to my will, so to speak. So I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, you brought that around because I was actually going to dog on how random y'all were saying this is, because I don't really feel like it is. I feel like it gives you a puzzle with which to work, and you have to use your tools to craft that, which thematically makes a little sense too. But you covered all that. I'm gonna focus on something not so important. They made the perfect component choice for the type of dice for this game.
Yeah,
because that to me is what makes them. Those little dice they chose, they're just great.
Mm-hmm. And those are our number twos.
So now we're at our number ones. These are the gems that we found in 2017. Mine was one that was actually on my anticipated list from last year. And it actually, when I got it here and I played it, it shot to my number one on the gem. And that is Escape from 100 Million BC. This is from IDW and Kevin Wilson. Basically, it's like you're in this time machine and you get ripped back in time, and you've created all of these time paradoxes, and the time machine crash landed on prehistoric Earth. So you've got dinosaurs and other nasty tidbits out there. But when you crash landed, you lost your parts. So you have to go out and explore the area, find the parts to fix your time machine. But when you got ripped back, you ripped back others with you. So you have things that shouldn't be in this time period. You have guns, you have ammo, you have grenades, you have pocket watches, you have John F. Kennedy. So you have to go and find all these anomalies and take them back with you. Otherwise, you're going to cause a global paradox. The volcano is about to erupt, and you've got to make it out. So even if you fix your machine, your time machine, and you go back to the future, if you left anything behind, you could still lose the game. So,
yeah. Or you could technically win, but the future is now really jacked up.
So this one, I really, really enjoyed it. It was meaty. It was fun. It's an exploration. You got your own characters. I love this game, and I can't wait to get it to the table again. And that's Escape from 100 Million BC.
Yeah, it feels like Land of the Lost meets Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure type deal. I loved it too.
My number one is going to be Nusfjords, and that was my first experience with Uwe Rosenberg games. And this thing is just completely fun. So you're managing a fishing village somewhere that they have fishing villages. I'm not quite sure. I think it's Scandinavian.
in Nusfjord.
They use F and J together, and so that tells me somewhere northern Europe. But it was really fun. A lot of different things to do to gain points, and you have elders that can give you bonuses. You can build buildings that'll give you certain abilities, and then you have ships that gain the resources and forests that gain the resources. And ultimately, you're trying to fill plates with fish to gain points. I just liked it all the way around. I liked the flow of the game. I liked how everything worked together, and I'm wanting to play other Uwe Rosenberg games.
I would agree with you. It's very centric how everything ties together. It went really smooth, so it was a really good game.
Yeah, before I say this, let me say I liked Noosa Short. But you just said you need to play more Uwe Rosenberg games. And I would agree because I actually was thinking about this the other day. It's my least favorite.
Really?
Uwe Rosenberg game, other than Patchwork, but that's not the same kind of deal. Yeah, but, in his heavy Eurogame line, I would probably put it last. And I still liked it. I still want to own it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you should definitely try the others.
Very cool.
My number one, we've talked about this on the channel a number of times before, and this list was gems of 2017. And for me, this was the biggest gem of the year because somewhere around, late spring, I saw that there was going to be this Eurogame come out that was about fishing. And being from the South and being interested in fishing, I decided to give it a shot, knowing that there was a pretty good shot it was going to suck. Kind of like IP games, right? Because how could you possibly make a Eurogame about fishing that didn't suck? And man, was I wrong. This one is really neat. You have your little bait board, and it's got 4 different regions. And when you cast into one of the
title.
You didn't.
Oh, I didn't. This game is Coldwater Crown. Anyways, so you've got the 3 different fishing contests, major fishing contests that you're in on the board, and then there are all of these little side contests that you'll make catches and you'll have an opportunity to gain victory points, kind of in a point salad-y way. But the actual fishing part of it, you go to the lake to fish, and you choose which colors of bait on your board you're going to cast into which region, and if you empty a region, you catch the fish there. And then, they kind of go out randomly from a deck with each location, and you take that, and you're trying to gain the most weight, one of each different species in each different competition to score in the competitions because that's where your big points are. That works really well. All of the other little side contests, the point salad bit works really well, so that if I'm not doing particularly well at this location, and as far as weight goes, you can try to make an effort over here to gain some points that way. I felt like everything worked together well in this game, making it my biggest gem from 2017, Coldwater Crown. I said the name of the game that time.
Yes, you did. One of the really cool things, I think, is the way you choose your action, because basically you have a chit and you put it down and you do the action. Well, then you have to pick one up. And you do the action. So depending on the level of the chit, one side is one action, the other side is a double. So depending on how you put it down and what you pick back up tells you kind of the best way to do it, how much bait you can put out or whatever. So that was kind of different. It was very, very unique, and I enjoyed that part.
My favorite part of this game is great. My favorite part is the innovation they've done with that, with your tableau, which is your tackle box, I guess, and the 4 regions that you have with the multicolored bait gems. I'm a big fan of Mancala, and this is not Mancala mechanic, but it gives me sort of a similar vibe of removing colors, and then when you empty out that section, you've caught the fish.
Right.
That part is really neat, and I can't point to another game that does that.
That's true.
I can't either.
The same way. So it's really unique, and maybe even if you're thinking a fishing theme doesn't interest you, just the gameplay alone in Coldwater Crown is really unique and is really worth a try. I'd say it's even worth buying it just because I like the game so much. But if you, and at the very least, if you know a way to get a play in and see if you like it, I think you'll be surprised at the way the game plays.
It's very fresh and different.
It is very fresh and different, and you've heard it here first that there is an expansion coming. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Those are our 15 gems from 2017 as a part of our year-end coverage for Roll to Hit Gaming. I'm Lucas.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Chip.